Hello, and welcome to the Connectedness Podcast. Just as you might have guessed, I talk about connection and connectedness on this podcast, our connection with everything in the world around us. Whether you see it or not, we're all connected, and it doesn't matter if it's our dog, our cat, our God, our body. And I'll also talk about some more abstract connections like our career or our land, our community, our emotions, your body. Life is all about connection, so the sooner we recognize that, the sooner we can have an easier, more meaningful life. I will talk about these connections through different lenses, things like synchronicities and coincidences, or just everyday little bits of magic and miracles that we usually dismiss. It's really important that we pay attention to all of this so we can live an easier, more meaningful life. So welcome to the show. I'm your host, Karen Cleveland. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. So great to have you here with me today. I want to talk about seeking guidance, seeking divine guidance, looking for answers. A lot of times we feel like we don't know the answers. We don't know what to do. We don't know what decision we're supposed to make. I want to talk a little bit about how I see living a life of oneness, of connectedness, helps you find the answers. First of all, I think it helps you know the answers before you even have to ask the question. But even when you do have a question, you have resources, I guess, tools to use to discern that divine guidance from your busy head. And I know it can be hard when you're in the middle of a situation. Something is breaking down or exploding all around you, and you need an answer now. And when we're not grounded, we're not centered, we have no idea what that answer might be, which direction to go. I want to speak just a little bit to the importance of beginning now to establish a practice, to establish a system of receiving divine guidance so that when you really need it, you can rely on it. And I think that's the key is you need to begin now to really tease it out, to figure it out so that it's there when you need it. That doesn't mean if you need an answer right now, if you're in the middle of the garbage right now, that doesn't mean you can't also find an answer right now through your own divine guidance. It just means it might be easier in the future if you take steps now. Let's go over it. So what is divine guidance? What does that even mean? And what I mean by divine guidance, I might also call it an answer from God. If you're praying to God for something, do I take the job in Minneapolis or do I move to Florida, right? If you have the question, and who do you think is going to give you the best answer? Do you think it's going to be from your God? Is it going to be from your soul, from your heart? Is it going to be your spirit guides? Or is it going to be your siblings? Whoever you think is going to be able to provide that answer for you, that's what I mean by divine guidance. Whatever it is, your angels, whatever you, that divine spark that lives both inside of us and outside of us, whatever you call that, I want you to be able to understand when you're receiving information, communication, guidance from them. Now, I believe that when we are living in a state of conscious oneness or a state of knowing that we're in this oneness, it helps us to discern the information we're getting, and it's easier. And I am actually teaching a class coming up on oneness, and not only will I address how to receive divine guidance, but also connection with the world around us, connection with our soul and our body and our divine spirit. It's going to be a whole journey about living in this connected state because I believe you can have this knowing that everything's going to be okay. And that's what I've really gotten from it. When I first started both animal communication and my spiritual evolution, I guess, my consciousness, being able to connect with my own divine self and my divine guidance, What I really got out of it after going through it is knowing it's okay. Whatever's coming up is that everything is going to be okay one way or another. You just don't see the possibilities right now. You don't see the opportunities. Back to the topic of this podcast. When we are receiving divine guidance, when we have the question, we might not know who's talking to us. Is it my head? Do I hear my ego? Do I hear my soul talking? Do I hear my heart talking? And that's why I want to help you establish your own other ways, like definitive ways. It's a yes and it's a no, so that you can begin to understand which voice it is that you're hearing in your head. And if you've ever had those questions, then you know what I'm talking about. If you've never had those questions, then you probably don't know what I'm talking about, which voice it is that you're hearing in your head. You don't know if it's really your heart's desire. You don't know if it's just your programming from your entire life that you think you want something. So how do we know? We don't know who it is talking to us. We need to begin to test it out. And I just want to make another comment about who these answers are for. If you're trying to get answers for your son or daughter, your best friend, your neighbor, might not be so accurate. Because when we are seeking for our own truth, it's really hard for us to receive answers about someone else that don't have our own ego slant on them, our own intentions, or what we want, our own attachments. We're only finding these answers for ourselves. We're not doing this for someone else. If someone else needs some answers, they need to go through this process. And I tell people this a lot. It's like you have to start the process now. I feel like a broken record sometimes. Start the process now. Begin to learn so it's there when you need it. Okay, let's go back. I have 3 ways I want to share with you. These are not the only ways to do it. And even within these 3 ways, there's different ways to receive the answers. Here's the thing, our body knows the truth. Our body really acts as the connection between the earth and the spirit. Everything goes through the body, input, output, if it's coming top down or bottom up, it doesn't matter. Everything goes through the body. And by the body, I mean our senses, I mean our mind, our brain, everything about us is programmed to help connect the earthly realm with the spirit realm or the consciousness realm, however you want to look at it. We need to know what our body is telling us. And that's one of the biggest issues is people don't pay attention to what their body is telling them. Bodies can be telling you things without you even asking a question. Kids get sick when they have a test or they get nervous or they're being bullied at school. They get stomach aches. They don't want to go to school. They think it's a physical problem that they're having, but it's coming because there's something, some kind of anxiety or some kind of trouble that they don't want to go to school. This happens for work too. I have gotten sick not wanting to go to work or having a problem, a work issue that I don't want to deal with. Actually, I've had it in relationships before. If you don't want to see someone again and you don't want to tell them things, your body reacts different ways. And sometimes you get physically sick. So you have to stay home. It's like, sorry, I'm sick. I can't go out. And sometimes it just feels that way. So, anyhow, learning to pay attention to the body. And it does give you answers when you don't even know you have a question. So it's important to pay attention to it. But let's figure out how to ask a question and how to get an answer from it. The body knows the truth. It's got the divine wisdom coming into it. It's going to spit out to you the absolute truth. Here's one part of the body that you need to know. Muscles will contract or be firm or be strong when the truth is being said, and they will go weak or relax, go limp when it is not the truth. If you can pay attention to your muscles and how they're reacting to a question, then you will know if it's the truth for you or if it's not. There are several ways to do this. One is what we call muscle testing. And there are several ways to devise systems to know if your muscles are strong or weak. I do what I call the sway test. People call it the sway test. And it's standing up. And the first thing that you do, this is true for everything, is you always want to make sure you test it first with a true statement and a false statement. And actually, I'm going to talk about two things at the same time because the same is going to be true for a pendulum. And I don't have a fancy pendulum. I've used this same thing for many years. It's a ring that I got that I had to put on a chain, and this is what I use. Now, I haven't had to use it for a very long time because as I was talking earlier, when you're living a part of this connectedness and oneness, you don't actually have to ask the questions. You kind of know the answers before you even ask them. Whether it's your pendulum, and the background on how it works is the muscles in your fingers make it move. Or your arm might actually make it move. And the thing is you're not intentionally making it do a circle or go left or right or forwards or backwards, but your muscles are. Your unconscious is taking over, making the muscles go the way that they're supposed to go. Same is true with the sway test. You always start by asking a true question so you know what the yes answer is. And that's going to be true across the board with no matter what kind of muscle testing, no matter what you're doing. When you're trying to discern information, start with the truth so you know what the truth looks like or feels like. With the sway test, you stand flat on your feet. With the pendulum, you just hold it steady and you say something true. My name is Karen. That's a very common one to say, my name is Karen. And usually you'll sway forward. You need to pay attention to just the slight variations in your legs because you're not going to let yourself be thrown off balance. But if you start to sway slightly forward, then that's a yes answer. Pay attention to what your calves, your shins, your ankles are doing. And if you start to sway to the left or to the right or to the back, pay attention to that. After you ask your yes question and you see how it goes, usually with me, a yes is back and forth for this, then you know that and you say, okay, then you ask yourself a no question. And it's not a question. I'm saying it as a question, but it's actually a statement. So you might say just something the opposite, something that's not true at all. My name is Eloise. That's not true. And notice how the body goes. How does it sway? How does the pendulum move? How does your body react to that? So get used to asking yes and no questions and do it with things that are right now that are not life breaking, urgent, all important questions that could have catastrophic results if you do the wrong thing. Begin with simple things. At the grocery store, stand on your feet, get present, get quiet, stand up straight, pick up an orange or an apple or lettuce, and just ask yourself, is this piece of food good for my body right now? Muscle testing can be used for supplements. It can be used for medicine. It can be used for food. It can be used for anything, really. You might find people in the supplement aisle in some of the health food stores or some of the new age stores with their eyes closed, holding items, seeing which way they move back and forth. Or, like I said, in the produce section, which watermelon is good? This watermelon or this watermelon? Picking the wrong thing might have pretty minor consequences. So, like I said, start small with these things so you can begin to build up your faith and your trust in this system. And then another way, and it's very similar, but it's paying attention to the emotions or the feelings in our body. The feelings. You want to be in a position that it's quiet, you're not distracted, and think of something that really makes you happy. Think of a decision you've made that's really been a good decision in your life. And how does your body feel? Where do you feel it? And how does that feel in your body? And then bring to mind something that wasn't such a great decision or something that didn't work out very well, something you didn't like. And how does that feel in your body? And where do you feel that in your body? And when things happen throughout the day, good or bad, stop and notice how the body feels so that you can begin to understand that when you have that same feeling tomorrow, you know if it's a good thing or a not so good thing. So I highly recommend you begin paying attention every day, every every moment, especially, when you just burst out laughing because something is so great. Right before that, if you can stop in the moment, if you're in the space or a place where you can stop in the moment and say, "What's going on in my body? That was fantastic. I love that. What's going on in my body? Because I want more of this." So I want to make sure I move in the direction that I feel this way in my body more, especially the moments leading up to that laughter, that good thing. Same with the bad. What happened? How did my body feel? I want to make sure I stay out of situations that my body feels like that because that's not how I want my life to be. So try to use your body as a gauge to always move towards the things that always feel good and move away from the things that feel bad. And it's going to take time because for most of us, we're not used to feeling our body like that. For a lot of us, we kind of ignore our body and we're disconnected from it. It might take time to begin feeling like that again. And if you need an introduction to actually just start feeling your body, sit down, be quiet, and actually pay attention on parts of your body. In fact, lift your hand up so it's not touching anything and close your eyes and imagine your hand. And how do you know your hand exists? When you're not looking at it and when it's not touching anything. So see if you can actually feel the parts of your hand or feel your toes. Just feel different parts of your body without looking at it, without actually knowing that it's there because you see it or you touch it with your hands. Through these different methods, if you practice them daily, even weekly, if you had started 5 years ago and you were practicing these weekly, you'd still have a much better, greater understanding today of what you needed to know. So start now. And even if it's random, every 2 weeks, once a month, just start so that when you have those decisions, when you have issues come up, you can check in. Here's the other thing though, with checking in like that or with intentionally doing it on a regular basis is you are going to begin to feel the connection with life around you. It happens both ways. You might feel your connection with life around you, and then you can understand your answers better. Or you might, like I'm proposing, begin to understand how to receive an answer, and it just can't help but put you into that oneness, that connection with the world around you. Because the oneness of it all is what's giving the answers and is what it's where the answers come from. It's where the questions come from. It's where everything is interchanged. So just beginning simple practices like this is what's going to help you feel better about life. Maybe give you a little more hope with some things, and certainly help you know how to find the answers, how to have, how to receive divine guidance when you need it. It's all about developing faith so you can trust and you can look back and say, I felt this way and this was the outcome and that was the expected outcome. And you can trust yourself to make the best decision for you. And that's your homework this week, too. Begin testing this out. See how your body feels when you laugh, when you cry. Clearly, we have these emotions in our head, but how does the body feel? Thank you for joining me today. I look forward to connecting with you later and have a great day. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to head over to revkarenpodcast.com. That's REVKAREN podcast.com. There you're going to find the tools for finding more meaning and happiness in your own life. Plus, if you have a story that you want to share with me, either on or off the air, be sure to look for that form. Make sure you follow me so you get notified when new episodes drop. And also, I'd love to connect with you in my Facebook group, Connectedness with Rev Karen. So head over to revkarenpodcast.com. I hope to see you there.